Most people think of spies as mysterious figures in trench coats, passing microfilms in dark alleys. But what if the most dangerous spy didn't look like a spy at all? What if he worked quietly inside your own intelligence agency, shaking hands with your top officials, attending your meetings, and all the while feeding everything to the enemy? This is the story of Aldrich Ames, the man who betrayed America from the inside. A career CIA officer who looked loyal, spoke politely, and lived modestly, until the truth unraveled. Behind his carefully pressed suit was a man responsible for the deaths of countless American assets. But it didn't start that way. Aldrich Hazen Ames joined the CIA in 1962. His father had also been with the agency, and for years Ames worked quietly in various overseas assignments. He was average, not brilliant, not bold, just dependable. He blended in, which is exactly what made him so dangerous. In the late 1980s, a strange pattern began to emerge. CIA agents in Moscow, high-value Soviet informants, were being captured, some were executed, others simply vanished. At first, the agency blamed poor communication or Soviet counterintelligence, but something else was happening. The Soviets weren't just getting lucky, someone was feeding them names, and Ames had the perfect access. By 1985, Aldrich Ames was drowning in debt. He had a failed marriage, drinking problems, and financial stress. But when he was reassigned to the CIA's Soviet Counterintelligence Division, everything changed. He had access to the identities of nearly every American spy operating in the Soviet Union. And then came the moment that altered history. Ames walked into the Soviet embassy in Washington, D.C., and offered to sell secrets. For $50,000 he handed over a list of American double agents embedded inside the Soviet military and government. The KGB took that list and acted swiftly. Within months, some of America's most crucial Soviet informants were arrested and executed. Years of intelligence work, gone in an instant. But Ames didn't stop. Over the next 9 years, he would sell more than 100 classified operations, expose dozens of CIA officers, and cripple America's Cold War intelligence efforts. He made over $2.7 million from Soviet payments, money he used to buy a new Jaguar, a lavish home, and expensive vacations. Ironically, his lifestyle became the very thing that raised red flags. He claimed his wife came from money. He joked about inheritance. But co-workers began to wonder, how could a mid-level CIA officer afford all this? Still, he remained untouched, for 9 years. Because Ames didn't just betray his country, he outplayed its most powerful intelligence network from within. He used the very tools of deception the CIA trained him to detect. And worst of all, each time another CIA informant died in Moscow, Ames knew it was because of him, and he did nothing. By the early 1990s, the CIA was bleeding secrets, missions failed, informants stopped communicating. Some foreign agents even began to question if America could protect them. A chill spread through U.S. intelligence. Something wasn't just wrong, something was rotten at the core. But Aldrich Ames continued his double life with stunning confidence. He wasn't hiding in shadows or speaking in code. He was walking the halls of Langley, attending meetings, reviewing case files. His co-workers shook his hand daily, some even confided in him. The entire time he was working for the enemy. The CIA knew there was a mole. They just couldn't find him. They launched Operation Night Mover, a top-secret hunt for the traitor. Investigators pored over internal records, expense reports, travel logs, anything that might reveal the leak. Yet Ames had been careful. He often used his wife's accounts. He avoided creating digital trails, and when he delivered secrets to the Soviets, it was often through dead drops or personal meetings, not traceable communication. But greed has a funny way of breaking even the best covers. In 1993, a CIA financial analyst noticed something odd. Ames had made a large cash deposit, well beyond his government salary. A few months later, more deposits followed. And yet, there were no signs of inheritance or lottery winnings. At the same time, the FBI got involved. They placed Ames under discreet surveillance, tapped his phones, monitored his movements. They watched him drink at bars, make unexplained trips, and live far above his means. Still, they needed more, a smoking gun. That moment came when Ames made a suspicious trip overseas, without proper clearance. The agencies finally had enough. On February 21, 1994, the FBI arrested Aldrich Ames and his wife, Rosario, just a few blocks from their home. The world was stunned. Here was a man who'd worked in the heart of the CIA for decades, not some outsider, not a rogue contractor, but one of their own. The fallout was catastrophic. Ames had compromised at least 100 intelligence operations and betrayed over 30 U.S. agents, 10 of whom were executed by the Soviets. His betrayal was described as the worst in CIA history. And his motive, purely financial. During his trial, Ames showed no remorse. He admitted to spying but denied causing any deaths. The court didn't buy it. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Rosario received 63 months for aiding and abetting. Even years later, the agency struggled to rebuild trust with its operatives overseas. Lives had been lost, missions ruined, billions of dollars in intelligence work erased. Ames had sold more than secrets, he'd sold credibility, he'd sold safety, and perhaps worst of all, he'd done it with ease. Because when a traitor wears a badge of trust, no alarm goes off. No siren sounds. They sit beside you, smile in meetings and shake your hand, while watching the nation burn behind your back. The story of Aldrich Ames didn't end with his arrest. In many ways, that was just the beginning. In the shadowy world of espionage, betrayal is inevitable. But few betrayals ever reach the scale, the coldness, and the sheer impact of Aldrich Ames. His actions didn't just compromise missions, they reshaped the balance of power during the final stages of the Cold War. Thanks for watching. If this story shocked you, inspired you, or made you think deeper about how power and trust really work, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more real-life spy stories, war secrets, and hidden history that textbooks never teach. And if you know someone who'd be blown away by this story, share the video with them. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. Until next time, stay curious and stay sharp. As we close this chapter, let's rewind a bit further to understand the roots of Aldrich Ames's betrayal. Born in River Falls, Wisconsin in 1941, Ames was the son of a CIA analyst, which may have planted the seeds of his future career. His upbringing was far from extraordinary, marked by a typical middle-class American life. But beneath the surface, a desire for recognition and success was brewing. Ames attended the University of Chicago, where he struggled academically but never lost his fascination with espionage. His involvement in his father's work gave him a glimpse into the clandestine world of intelligence. The allure of secrecy and the promise of significance became an intoxicating cocktail for the young Ames. After college, he joined the CIA, eager to step out of his father's shadow and make a name for himself. But as we've seen, the path he chose led to one of the most devastating betrayals in intelligence history. Understanding Ames's early life doesn't excuse his actions, but it does provide a window into the complexities that shaped his decisions. It reminds us that even the most ordinary beginnings can lead to extraordinary and sometimes tragic ends. Stay tuned for more stories that delve deep into the lives of those who walk the fine line between loyalty and betrayal. Until next time, stay curious and stay sharp. As we transition from the roots of Aldrich Ames's betrayal, let's delve into the internal workings of the CIA during his tenure. Understanding the agency's environment and operations can provide crucial context to Ames's actions. The Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, is an intricate web of clandestine operations, intelligence gathering, and covert missions. During Ames's time, the Cold War was at its peak. The agency was deeply entrenched in a global chess game with the Soviet Union, each move calculated to gain an upper hand in this high-stakes battle of espionage. Key operations during this period included gathering intelligence on Soviet military capabilities, infiltrating foreign governments, and countering communist influence worldwide. Ames, as a counterintelligence officer, was at the heart of these activities. His role was to detect and neutralize Soviet spies within the United States, a position that provided him with access to sensitive information. The challenges were immense. The threat of double agents, the constant need for secrecy, and the pressure to deliver actionable intelligence created a high-stress environment. The agency operated under a cloud of suspicion, where trust was a rare commodity. This atmosphere of paranoia and pressure to perform could push individuals to the brink. Ames exploited this environment. He used his insider knowledge of CIA operations to betray his colleagues and country. The very institution tasked with safeguarding national security became a hunting ground for Ames's treacherous activities. In this complex and high-pressure world, the lines between friend and foe often blurred. The demands of the job and the constant vigilance required could lead some to make unthinkable choices. Ames's betrayal wasn't just a personal failure, it was a symptom of the broader challenges faced by the intelligence community during one of the most tumultuous periods in modern history. Stay with us as we continue to unravel the intricate tapestry of espionage, loyalty, and betrayal. The story of Aldrich Ames is far from over, and the lessons it holds are timeless. Aldrich Ames's betrayal had far-reaching consequences, extending beyond the confines of the CIA and into the delicate realm of international relations. His actions sent shockwaves through the global intelligence community, particularly straining the already tense relations between the United States and Russia. At the height of the Cold War, trust was a rare and valuable commodity. The revelation that a high-ranking CIA officer had been feeding critical information to the Soviet Union for years was a devastating blow to the US's credibility. Allies began to question the reliability of American intelligence, while adversaries saw it as a significant victory. The immediate aftermath of Ames's exposure saw a flurry of diplomatic activity. The US had to navigate a complex landscape of damage control, attempting to reassure its allies and deter its enemies. The betrayal not only compromised numerous intelligence operations but also risked the lives of countless operatives and informants. For Russia, Ames's betrayal was a propaganda windfall. It demonstrated the vulnerability of American intelligence and provided a treasure trove of classified information. However, this victory was double-edged. The eventual exposure of Ames also highlighted the lengths to which the Soviet Union would go to infiltrate and undermine the US intelligence apparatus. The long-term impact on US-Russia relations was profound. The Cold War may have ended, but the legacy of Ames's treachery continued to cast a long shadow over diplomatic efforts. Trust, once lost, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. The Ames case became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the human cost of espionage and the fragility of international alliances. As we reflect on the broader implications of Ames's actions, it's clear that his betrayal was not just a personal or institutional failure, it was a geopolitical earthquake, with aftershocks that would be felt for years to come. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the fallout of Ames's treachery and explore how the CIA and the broader intelligence community sought to rebuild and learn from this dark chapter. As we delve deeper into the fallout of Aldrich Ames's treachery, it's crucial to understand the psychological profile of the man behind the betrayal. What motivated him? What personality traits led him down this dark path? Ames was not an ordinary man. He was highly intelligent with a deep understanding of the intricacies of espionage. Yet it was this very intelligence that also made him dangerously cunning. His motivations were complex, stemming from a mix of personal dissatisfaction, financial greed, and a profound sense of entitlement. From an early age, Ames exhibited traits of narcissism and a desire for recognition. Despite his high-ranking position within the CIA, he felt undervalued and overlooked. This sense of injustice festered over time, fueling his resentment towards the agency he once served with pride. Financial instability played a significant role in Ames's decision to betray his country. Mounting debts and a lavish lifestyle he could not afford pushed him to seek out alternative means of income. The Soviet Union's offer of financial rewards for classified information was too tempting to resist. But beyond the greed and resentment, there was a darker side to Ames's personality. He was a master manipulator, capable of deceiving those closest to him. His ability to lead a double life for so many years speaks to his extraordinary capacity for compartmentalization and deception. Understanding Ames's psychological profile is not just an exercise in curiosity. It provides valuable lessons for the intelligence community and beyond. It highlights the importance of vigilance, the need for robust psychological screening, and the ever-present danger of internal threats. As we continue to explore the aftermath of Ames's betrayal, we must remember that the most significant threats often come from within. The story of Aldrich Ames is a stark reminder of the human vulnerabilities that can compromise even the most secure institutions. Stay tuned as we examine how the CIA and the broader intelligence community sought to rebuild and learn from this dark chapter, and the steps taken to prevent such a betrayal from happening again. Following the arrest of Aldrich Ames, the CIA was left to pick up the pieces and rebuild its shattered trust. Ames's betrayal had exposed significant vulnerabilities within the agency, prompting a thorough reassessment of its internal security measures. One of the first steps taken was the implementation of more rigorous psychological screening processes for both new recruits and existing personnel. The goal was to identify potential red flags early on and mitigate the risk of future betrayals. This included regular polygraph tests, financial audits, and enhanced background checks. The CIA also introduced a series of reforms aimed at fostering a culture of accountability and transparency. Whistleblower protections were strengthened, encouraging employees to report suspicious activities without fear of retribution. Additionally, the agency emphasized the importance of ethical conduct and loyalty to the country, integrating these values into its training programs. To address the financial motivations that had driven Ames to espionage, the CIA re-evaluated its compensation structures and provided better financial management resources to its employees. This aimed to reduce the temptation of turning to external sources for financial gain. Another critical change was the establishment of a dedicated counterintelligence unit tasked with continuously monitoring for any signs of internal threats. This unit operated independently, ensuring that no single individual could wield unchecked power. These reforms were not just about preventing another Ames, they were about restoring faith in an institution that plays a crucial role in national security. The CIA's commitment to learning from its past mistakes was evident in its proactive approach to reform. The legacy of Aldrich Ames serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of vigilance and integrity within the intelligence community. By addressing the root causes of his betrayal and implementing these changes, the CIA aimed to build a more resilient and trustworthy organization. As we reflect on the lessons learned from this dark chapter, it is clear that the cost of betrayal is immense. However, it is through these challenges that institutions grow stronger, ensuring that the sacrifices made by those who serve are never in vain. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the long-term impact of Ames's actions and the enduring efforts to safeguard national security in an ever-changing world.